Welcome everybody to the King Leo show, the KL show. How we doing tonight? We have a lot to get through. Not really. It's been a kind of a chill week. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I'm gonna re-up tomorrow. Probably. I'm gonna shoot like 5 or 6. It's gonna be fun. The park near my house, great place to shoot. I reorganized here, so everything should be able to move across the desk a lot more smoother and stuff. Hang on, yeah, there we do this. Evening, J Boss. How you doing, man? I think before we get into the show, I want to start doing this where we talk about one thing here a little bit in depth. Okay, so this would normally be part of Schizo Watch. I want to see this together here. Now that J Boss is here, I know J Boss is American to an extent, so let's check this out together, J Boss. All right, while we wait for people. So President Trump tweeted this today. Let me make this big. Make this big over here. Okay, so he tweeted this, which is his presidential tier list. Okay, welcome to the King Leo Show, everyone. It's 10 o'clock. Okay, all right. All right, look at this here. So he's like like those tier lists, like S tier, A tier, and all that stuff. And he truthed this, I guess, where he talked about the best presidents, right? And I'm very confused by it because here you can see he put himself as the greatest, as you'd expect. That's however you feel about it. Like if you were making this chart and you were president, you'd put yourself as the best one. You would. All right, let's be fair. Okay. Okay, so great here. This is a little strange selection here, okay? You've got Lincoln. All right, obviously a great man of history, whether you agree or disagree with him, a great man of history. He's got to be up there. He founded the Second Republic in a lot of ways, right? Washington founded the First Republic, absolutely the one of the legend. You don't have the country without him, so he has to be one of the greats, right? Then you have FDR, founded the Third Republic. I'm a big FDR guy myself. I think FDR is cool, so I understand that. One second, let me make myself a little bigger here. Yeah, there we go. All right. Let me do that. Move myself here. All right. And then there's Woodrow Wilson. I'm kind of a secret Woodrow Wilson fan in some ways. I know that he was racist or whatever, but I like him. I think he was he said he made the world safe for democracy, aka he conquered the world for America. And as an American, I can't disavow that. Then we have Thomas Jefferson. This now I'm starting to get confused because Thomas Jefferson uh was like a total retard, right? Thomas Jefferson was an. I'm not. Listen, if you're before you get mad at me, guys, let's admit this guy was a retard. Okay? I know he wrote some fancy words and all that, but this guy, he put an embargo on the whole country. He wanted everyone to be a farmer, and he didn't want to develop civilization. Okay, this guy was an idiot, in my view. Okay, great writer, invented the swivel chair. Respect for that. Light he had a thing for the darker skinned ladies, we respect, proto Latino president. But why is this here? Why is he? I don't really understand because you can't say he was a bad president because of the historical thing, but you can't say he's great. It just in my estimation. Okay. And then here you have Andrew Jackson, who was a total retard. I like Andrew Jackson personally. I like people when they're a little retarded. Um, and I respect him as the governor of Florida, and I think he was a cool guy. But he was just like a corrupt idiot that got rid of the central bank and replaced it with his own patronage system of banks. I'm not even talking about the Trail of Tears or all that. I'm not doing lip slop. Where he kind of caused the panic of 1893 or something by messing it. Badass guy. Don't get me wrong. I love Andrew Jackson on a personal level. He's a fucking cool guy. But the domestic policy was all populism slop. It was all slop. It was bring everyone here to eat cheese at my house. That he literally did that. He made everyone go to the White House to eat cheese. People love to complain about government cheese. He did the original government cheese. J Boss says Washington he was not a good general, man. He lost like every battle except Yorktown. Washington gets a pass because he founded the country, but he wasn't a genius. Completely agree. Jackson's my favorite. If you hate central banks, I could see why you like Jackson, but Trump isn't a libertarian, so why would Trump put him? How are you doing, CCTV? This is Trump's list. Why would Trump put Andrew Jackson near the top? because of the populism slop. Also, Donald Trump loves Indians. You know, Andrew Jackson hated them. I know they're different kinds of Indians, but it doesn't really make much sense to me. And J-Bot says anti-central bank. Yeah, anti-central bank for sure. Now, here we get near grade. So this is our S tier, A tier. This is B tier. You get TR. Obviously has to be up there. Gave us the national parks and all that. You know, you gotta put some respect there. You got John Adams, who passed the Alien Sedition Act. John Adams was just like an autist. I find him endearing, but he was an autist. Okay, I don't know why President Trump would find him. What did we get under Adams? The Quasi War. He supported the Haitian Revolution. I'm wondering why President Trump would put him here, right? Grover Cleveland. I don't even know what Grover Cleveland did. Let's look this up together. This is interesting. Grover Cleveland. What did Grover Cleveland? What did he do? What did he do after the Civil War? First Democrat after the Civil War. What did he do? Oh, this is he got assassinated in Buffalo. I've been to where he died. Kind of. I assume he didn't do much. You know, we don't talk about him much. Let's ask Gemini. Let's ask. What did Grover Cleveland do that was notable? Short list, please. Let's see. J-Boss says, John Adams studied the Spanish, Fueros, and Basque Constitution to make the U.S. Constitution. He should be great. I like John Adams. I like him. I don't have a problem with him. Okay, so Grover Cleveland had non-consecutive terms. The original Donald Trump. He used the veto. He did the Interstate Commerce Act. I mean, this is pretty boring stuff. You know, he liked the gold standard, opposed Hawaiian annexation. What? Only president to get married at the White House. This just seems to me to be, you know, whatever. All right. Yeah, so Grover Cleveland's there. James K. Polk, you know, he got Mexico for America. You got to admire that, right? You got to admire that he got that. Now here we have average. Now, Clinton, for me, is way above average. This is one of the greats. All right. Whether you love him or hate him, one of the greats. One of the best presidents America has had in the sense of, by the way, where's HW? Is HW on here? No, he didn't rank HW. HW or W. HW has to be here and great. HW is great. One of the best. Clinton was one of the best communicators, a genius, did a lot of bad things, obviously. But he was getting play at the White House, you know, openly. That's pretty cool. Did he put Kennedy on it? He didn't put Kennedy on here. You have John Quincy, genius, of course. Amistad, we've all seen that. Monroe, I don't know much. Hayes, hero in Paraguay. Rutherford B. Hayes solved the War of the Triple Alliance. Very good president for Latin America. Martin Van Buren, did you know this is the first president, the only president we've had that didn't have English as his first language? He spoke Dutch as his first language. James Madison, I don't know what James Madison did, but he has to be higher because he wrote the Constitution with Thomas Jefferson. How you doing, Robert? Economy was good when Clinton was it. That's how I feel about Clinton. The economy was good. Bill Clinton would be considered like an interesting guy at the minimum. I don't think he's an average guy, you know. Taft, you know, I don't know what Taft did. We just know the myth of the bathtub, right? Arthur probably did nothing. McKinley assassinated, didn't do nothing. Did he put William Henry Harrison on here? He put Benjamin Harrison. I don't know what Benjamin Harrison did. Andrew Johnson on average. Andrew Johnson gets a lot of hate for handling the end of the Civil War badly. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really looked into him, and I think that I'm suspicious of any popular narrative in history. So I'm sure he was whatever. I'm sure usually when someone gets blamed for doing things, they were kind of put in a bad position. And here's Herbert Hoover, one of my favorites as a Floridian, because he built the Hoover Dike for us. Very smart guy, very underrated. Okay? Underrated guy. Herbert Hoover, he had to hold the bag for the Depression. But he was a very underrated guy. He did an interesting job. All right, he just believed in the free market. You know, he was a real conservative. I like Herbert Hoover. I really do. And I know he gets a bad rap, but I don't blame him for the Great Depression. I don't blame him for it. Smoot-Hawley tariffs, I guess, but not really. Then we have below average. I don't know what Tyler did. Coolidge is one of the best from what I understand because he did nothing. I love a president that does nothing. I either want you to do everything or nothing, but nothing in between. Fillmore, no idea what Fillmore did. Taylor, no idea what he did. Zachary Taylor. We have the Zachary Taylor Park here in Florida. Now, this is weird. James Buchanan is kind of the cause of the Civil War, but he's not in failure. He's in below average. William Henry Harrison is not on here. That's so weird. And then you have Pierce. I don't know what Pierce did. And then we have failures. We have Joe Brandon. Then here we have Obama. Look, Obama was a failure. And so was Brandon. And I would say Trump too. But I would put them all at about average. Like, it's just average. I mean, Obama was average to below average. And Biden was even the president, you know. And Trump would probably be below average in my estimation. Especially the second time around. The first time around, we could put him at average to above average. It was a fun time those first 2 years, you know, but I don't know. Then you have Grant on here. He won the Civil War, you know. I know that he gets this thing about how he was a drunk. Apparently that's a myth. And that he was very corrupt. Apparently that's a myth too. I don't know why he would be in failure rather than below average. And you have Harding. Harding died in office. I don't think he did anything. And of course you have Jimmy Carter, who I think that across the board, people consider a failure as a president and a success in his post-presidency. I don't like him in either one personally. But this is just such a strange list. I don't know. I would rank this way differently. The greatest has to be FDR. It has to be FDR. Where's Nixon on here? Nixon isn't here. Reagan isn't here. He didn't put like any 20th century Republican or 21st century Republican. Where's Eisenhower? Eisenhower would be average. Weird list. Weird list. What do you guys think of the list? I don't know if he made this with AI. He was like, AI, make me a list. I want to be at the top. Best presidents in American history. I don't know why he would like Woodrow Wilson. Is it because he like destroyed Europe? How many presidents are on here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. 34. We've had, what, 47? And some more repeats, right? But let me ask here. What presidents did Trump not include here? Exactly. We know William Henry Harrison's not there. Let's see this here. Yes, Robert. Nixon did get us out of Vietnam, and people don't like to give him credit for that. I am very, not defensive of Nixon, but I respect him. All right, we didn't get 11 presidents. Truman won World War II. Eisenhower, JFK, LBJ. That's got to be in like evil. That's not even failure. LBJ is just evil. Nixon, will to power. LBJ is the Nietzsche president. William Henry Harrison, as we said. Nixon, Ford. Ford is like below average, right? We didn't do shit. Reagan, HW, and W. Huh. Let me ask you a minute. What do you think of his ranking? I don't really think it's accurate, to be honest. See what it says. See what Google has to say about this. Yeah, okay. It departs from objective analysis, right? But putting Grant in the lowest tier reflects an outdated mid-20. That's what I said, right? Because he wasn't a drunk, okay? High marks for controversial figures. Woodrow Wilson and Great ignores how heavily his reputation has fallen. Yeah, I know, but he did some cool stuff too. All right, this is a weird list. All right, with that, everyone, welcome to the King Leo Show, everyone. Let's get started on the actual show. I thought this would be interesting to go over just to see what was going on. All right, everyone, we have a new addition to the soundboard. Here we go. Where is it?
You know how we say it take a village to raise a child? But what if the village is retarded? What you think it's going to produce?
All right. So that's on there. All right. Let's get started with the show. Okay, so speaking of President Trump and him posting on Truth, he posted this. Well, not him. The Department of Education posted this about him yesterday. And they deleted it because it's a really odd. Let's watch this here really quick. J-Boss says it was an interesting list. I'll give him that. It was interesting. I always like seeing when people have weird lists like that. Let's check out what they posted here.
You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth.
So for anyone that's not a movie buff, this is Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill. And in case you didn't watch this movie, what was this movie called? I hated this movie. It was not good. As someone who's not a Churchill fan, I know we may have Churchill fans here. I'm not a big fan of Churchill. I'm not Irish or South African, but I'm not a fan. Okay. I don't get it. What? He sold the country out to America? Yeah, whatever. But he's talking about Hitler here.
You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth.
So the tiger is Hitler. And then it's a compilation of Trump. So are we now where Trump is literally Hitler? And look, they wrote, no one does it like us with a tiger. It has been co-opted by Trump to say, I am literally Hitler, actually. I actually am. And just to get some use out of this, this is what the Department of Education is tweeting. I mean, what do you think this is going to produce?
You know how we say it take a village to raise a child? But what if the village is retarded? What you think it's going to produce?
They're not teaching math, or they're posting this. I don't. Every day, I'm more confused. I don't try to understand. They deleted it because people were like, hey, are you saying Trump is Hitler? Haven't you been yelling? I remember that the conservatives were like, you can't say that he's Hitler. That's sacrilegious. You can't say that. And now he's saying, I am Hitler. Or Linda McManus through the Department of Education Twitter account. What? So I don't know. It's a lot of slop these days. J-Boss says, great addition to the soundboard. Thank you, sir. How you doing, Spring? Missed you, buddy. I'm going to get back to everyone's comments later. What's up, Adrian? DCV says, well, he better start acting like it. Trump act like Hitler? I mean, I think he's on speed, so he's already some way there. All right. Let's check this out here. This is the Romanian army. They posted this here as an edit. And we're going to watch it without the sound first, and you're going to try to guess what the music is that they put here. Look at hang on. No. It's a cool edit. It's the Romanian military, right? I mean, this is all it takes. All of this, the Romanian military is designed to get Andrew Tate, and they can't even do that. But they can make these edits. All right. So what would you expect them to put as the music for this? Some traditional Romanian stuff or a hype edit? What did they put?
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer.
Yeah, Romanians are not white officially now. They were always Latin. I knew that, but I mean, they're Cuban now. I guess they're going to shake the song. Come on, baby, man, do the conga. You know, Gloria Stefan representing. I guess that Romanians are Hispanic now. Why did they choose Gloria Stefan for this? You know, we're not big fans of Gloria Stefan in Miami. I know that sounds weird, but I promise you we're not. There's a lot of people that are not big fans of Gloria Stefan. A lot of rumors about her husband getting his canoe wet, as it's said in Spanish, meaning that when you have a little drink in you, you start getting a little curious with the fellas, okay? You want some hard men when your canoe gets wet.
I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men that are the hardest of the hard. And I want to be with these men.
I mean, that's what it feels. That's what Gloria Stefan's husband does, according to people in Miami. But I guess they're not white, you know, they are Hispanic like us. Which makes sense if you think about it, because only a country governed like Latin America could produce Andrew Tate. Because Andrew Tate is just like a Colombian drug lord if he spoke in English. You know, if you watch the movie Scarface and then sign up for Hustlers University, you're going to see that there's a lot of overlap in terms of the lessons you're going to take away from it. So, you know, that's, you know, Hispanics #1, we keep conquering with the music. And it's like the Cold War, right? Back in the 80s, they wanted to listen to the Rolling Stones. Now they want to listen to Cuban music from the 90s. All right. J-Bot says, Romanians are the Dacians, a brave Balkan people. Brave. I mean, they did do that thing with Ceausescu on Christmas. That was interesting. Latin music has great energy. I absolutely agree. I hate when people are like, I hate Latin music. That salsa music sucks. It's terrible. It's like, dude, you haven't listened to the good ones. Speaking of people going crazy, let's check in on Ryan Reynolds, how he's doing with his liquor company. Let's check this out here. Look at this here. Look at this.
But the actual fuck, guys, sales are down 20% from last quarter. Anybody want to tell me why? I thought a fucking gin company, because I thought you peasants just like to fucking party. Like, I thought that's all you guys do. Now suddenly people stop drinking? What the fuck?
This is his staff that he's speaking to at his gin company.
I'm so lucky that I have met fucking Mole to fall back on, or else I'd be fucked. You! What's your name?
Jim?
Jim? You know, Jim, I don't see any aviation gin in your cup there.
I don't think we're allowed to drink at work, sir.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the problem, Jim. Maybe that's this fucking company's problem. Okay, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. If everyone here is not drinking aviation gin by EOD today, then you can kiss your pretty little fake jobs goodbye. Okay? Because I have real shit to do. I'm acting with The Rock this afternoon. It's gonna be a blockbuster movie. It's about a team of secret agents. Except, plot twist, we're all tiny. Tiny agents, big mission, the money makes itself. Okay? I don't need this. Sell more gin or you're all fired.
So obviously this isn't real, but it's actually more real than you'd expect, because he's just hitting, even in the AI, it's capturing the energy of our era, which is
Technically, according to the strict law of the Torah, not one Gentile in the world deserves to live.
I can't imagine being an employee in this era. But imagine being a boss and walking into your office. You're just going to be...
I can't stand these fucking people, man. The joke is becoming a reality. Every day I hate one more person. They drive me crazy, man.
This is more real than if it were real. This is, I bet you this is what Tim Cook feels like. Any CEO that's trying to plan for the future right now, they know it's not their employees' fault. They know it's not really their fault. It's no one's fault, really. And they need to lash out at someone. I wish this was real. I wish it was. You should be this. If we all spoke this frankly as employees, as bosses, things could start to change a little bit. What do you mean we can't sell alcohol? That problem shouldn't exist. My Lord, man. How great is this AI? Speaking of AI, let's check in on my new governor. This is going to be my governor, Byron Donald's new ad. He's running for governor of Florida, by the way. The ad is starting in New York.
His mom worked 2 jobs, raised 3 kids, and barely made ends meet.
I'm Byron Donalds. I know what living paycheck to paycheck feels like. That's why I'll cut taxes, lower insurance rates, and take on the insane cost of prescription drugs. It's your money, and you need it now more than ever. As your governor, I'm going to help you keep it.
Sponsored by Friends of Byron.
I'm so tired of this. this false humility we have to endure in America. Vote for me. My mama was broke. First of all, you're not black, because he's really trying to lean into this thing being like, I'm a New York man, I'm from Harlem, I'm just like Malcolm. You're not. You're from Belize. Okay? And when the politicians' ads sound like J.J. Wentworth ads, it's your money and you need it now, I have a feeling that that means that you're actually going to grape me. I have a feeling that means that you're saying it's my money and I need it, but you're not going to get it for me. I have a feeling you're going to take more of it, actually. Actually, I don't want you to be, if you, listen, and this is like manosphere stuff, right? But it's true. You cannot get a woman if you have scarcity mindset. You know, you have to have an abundance mindset. You have to be thinking like Ezra Klein, oddly enough. Ezra Klein, who is Ezra Klein straight? I'm not sure what Ezra Klein is, right? But how he talks about abundance, that's how you have to think to attract a lady, transgender or otherwise. You have to be like, they're everywhere. There's all these fish in the sea. And you don't get, as the manosphere calls it, one-itis. And when you meet someone that has a scarcity mindset, you want to get them away from you. If you're going out to the club or the bar to smoke grass and walk around like a goy, you want to get people with an abundance mentality. People are going, you know, there's girls everywhere, man. This applies to the girls too. There's boys everywhere. And what I'm being told in this ad is that Byron Donalds has a scarcity mindset when it comes to money. Because he's saying, my mama, she didn't have any money. So now make me the governor. That's genetic. You have to work your way out of that, okay? I'm sure any ethnic American can relate to cheap parents. You know, parents being like, oh, you know, we need to save a little money. Let's drive across town to get avocados for 2 cents cheaper. And that is something you have to work through with a therapist, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't do therapy, but I'm sure therapists help you with that. And if you're still thinking about how mama was a single mom and she had two babies and she couldn't feed them, then I think you're going to steal from me, actually. Actually, I want a governor like Gavin Newsom who grew up rich. That way he doesn't even think about stealing. This is going to be a very corrupt time to be in Florida. Just in my opinion, I'm not saying Fishback would have been better. I'm not saying David Jolly would be better, because guess what? David Jolly's a crook too. And James Fishback, he's funny, but he's crazy. So it's going to be a bad time to be here. Every Floridian in like 2 years, including myself, we're going to be like, I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke. If you want to avoid that for me, sign up for the Patreon. Let's play our ad.
Hello, I like money.
Give me the money.
Show me the money!
Give me the money, okay?
This country, you gotta make the money first.
Get the fucking
money!
Sign up for the Patreon. Links in the description. Helps the channel grow. Helps us talk about the channel. Get your friends to subscribe. Like the video. Leave a comment. Do all that good stuff. How you doing, Honey Vibes? J-Boss says, good PUA tip. Yeah, you got to have an abundance mentality. You got about everything in life. Money, woman, men, cars, food, everything. You got to think it's abundant. It's out there. I can go get it whenever I want. In order to succeed in life, you have to think like you're addicted to cigarettes. I can quit anytime that I want. I just don't want to, actually. That's how you have to think about life to get ahead. That's an abundance mentality. Speaking of people who are running for things in Florida, let's check in on Dan Bilzerian, who lost his race to Randy Fine. Well, he's doing interviews with the Alex Jones show, which is great. This is really what you want from your congressman. You want him to go on Alex Jones to talk about, what does he have to talk about? Let's see this.
He was.
I haven't said that, and I'm aware of the Havar agreement. And Nick is also a Fed, by the way. He's a total disinformation agent. You can't listen to anything that retard says. I mean, this is the same guy that told us the left is coming to kill us, and then he tells us that we have to vote for a female Jewish Democrat and puts down the white Christian nationalists. You find out that he's a half Mexican Jew. He's actually Jewish, and he's gay, and he's definitely compromised.
Hold on, just a minute. Hold a minute. Nick released his 23andMe or whatever it is, and I don't think you shouldn't be. I mean, you wrote in the book you're 12% Jewish, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa. What? Thank you, J-Boss and Robert. J-Boss says, hello, I like money. I like that. Well, I'm just going to cut it off where it says, I really like that Mr. Krabs part.
Hello, I like money.
So true. Thank you guys for the super chats. You know, I've been putting these little goals because YouTube says enter a goal. And I said I'd give a big smooch if we got to the goal. We haven't gotten to the goals, but it's fine. Wait, why haven't we gotten to the goal? We don't even have anything. 10 teal super chat. Oh, tonight I wanted teal. Well, whatever. I'll take it. So I said I'd give a digital hug. I think if it were teal, we'd already hit that. So here's a digital hug to everyone. A big hug. And let's also honor the ones from yesterday. I said I get a big smooch on the forehead. Just smooch on the forehead to everyone. Thank you guys for donating to the show. It helps us keep the lights on around here. One more time for you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. That really does help the show. No, and ironically, man, it really helps the show. And J-Boss says, Nick is unserious. He calls Bilzerian Jewish when 12% does not make anyone Jewish, even in the eyes of the painter. His own driver was 25% Jewish. I'm not an ethnologist. A genealogist. I don't know how that works. When I see Dan Bilzerian, I don't see a Jewish guy. And that's not because I'm not judging whether it's good or bad to be that. I see Dan Bilzerian and I see a roided up Armenian who should be selling cars at a used car lot. That's what I see when I see Dan Bilzerian. I see a half a criminal idiot who's on testosterone therapy and thinks he's like a total badass. That's what I see personally. But I guess, I don't know. I feel like this is a signal that people do. Because I get called Jewish. I got called Indian. I get called Hispanic, but like with the S word. And I'm like, why you got, is that like supposed to be an insult? But this is our political debate. I see Nick Fuentes, and I'm sure he has, like all of us from down south. We have that Sephardic. I once read a tweet that said the reason that the Hispanic will never ascend, they will never get anywhere, is that they have the swagger of the Spaniard. No, I can't finish that. But it was so true. It was saying how we all have like our tendencies based on our ethnic makeup, which is indigenous, Spaniard, Jewish, and black. So obviously, like Nick Fuentes, like myself, we share some genetics. So we're going to have a little bit of that Sephardic gene, obviously. But, I'm not sure I would think. I see Nick Fuentes and I see a guy, I'm like, yo, dude, that's my cousin Juan. He's over there. Hey, Juan is at the cookout talking over there about how the Masons are trying to destroy the Spanish colonies. Amazing. Juan, get your ass over here, man. That's what I don't know if this is nitpicky or something. I don't understand what is even the point of this. You go on the Alex Jones show to debate on who's actually Jewish. And if you are, who cares, right? I don't even get it. But these are the people running for office in Florida. We have Byron Donalds and we have Dan Bilzerian. Just idiots abound everywhere. CCTV says some people call themselves atheist, Christian, or agnostic. Yeah, I guess some people do, man. Some people do. That's true. Some people call themselves that. Let's continue. I had to play this as I told you guys earlier this week. Like, this is one of these things that makes me where J Boss says there's no Sephardic genes in Spanish. On the contrary, Sephardic people had Spaniard genes. It's a myth, self-glorification. Dude, I don't know. Wasn't Columbus our guy over here? Wasn't he Jewish? Pretty sure he was. Dude, I think we get along with them for a reason. You know, the Hispanics, where we're like, dude, this guy's kind of, there's a reason the cartel hires like former IDF guys. They're like, that's my cousin over there. We get along with all of the Semites, Hispanics, and the Muslims. You see, dude, when I was in Saudi Arabia, I was like, these guys are like my cousins or something. And they're like, you are Muslim? No. And they're like, Bismillah, you will be Muslim. Get over here, man. Let's drink some coffee. All right, I'll drink some coffee with you, We are kind of Semitic in some ways, the Hispanics. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. I've never done 23andMe. I'm not going to do any of those tests. There's one that's supposed to be private, but it's very expensive. But I don't want to give that test. I don't want to give that information to anyone, And it's like, I've always had this trouble. I had someone in my family do 23andMe. And I was like, why did you do this? We know exactly what we are. We're like a quarter Indian, a quarter black, a quarter Spanish, and a quarter Jewish. That's probably what we are. Play with the percentages. We all know what we are. What, did you think we were going to get? I don't know, Chinese? You thought we were going to be Chinese? Really? Are we Russian? You think we're Russian? I understand 23andMe if you're like a black American or a white American, because you don't really have the records all the way back. You're like, let me find out where I'm from. Hispanic, it's like, dude, it's going to be a mishmash of those four. And if you're Peruvian, Japanese, and Chinese will be in there. What? Oh, you're telling me you're 25% Igbo, 25% Spanish, 25% Sephardic, and 25% Indian? That's crazy. Did you think you were going to be Hindu or something? You thought you were Australian. I literally don't get it. We did not produce a lot of it. We don't have a lot of immigration to Latin America besides those groups. We have Arabs, of course. I probably have some Arab in me. But it's like, I already have Spanish in me. No, I'm just playing. I know that. J-Boss says, I don't think we have Columbus DNA. Look at a picture of Baruch Espinosa. That's a Spaniard. Let's look up Baruch Espinosa. Baruch Espinosa. Well, but we have over here on the New World, we have that, right? This is Baruch Espinosa. Isn't Espinosa? That's a Jewish name. Like Spinoza, right? Spinoza. He was it wasn't he? He's a Jewish guy, right? Yeah. Yeah, dude, you're making my point. Spinoza was Jewish. That's what I'm saying. Spinoza. I'm not going to be ashamed of it, dude. If they'll give me, that's cool, I have the chosen people in me. Cervantes was a real Spanish-looking guy over here. Cervantes, the GOAT, the greatest to ever do it. Shakespeare, Moliere, nothing compared to Cervantes. One of the best to ever do it. We invented the novel. That was us. J-Boss says, your DNA is public info anyway. Every time you throw away a cup of coffee, I know, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me being, you know what? I should give 23andMe my DNA, but I don't trust that they're accurate because my understanding is they don't have anything for Indian DNA. And I want to know what part Indian I am, but there is no like pure indigenous people left in Latin America, except for like the mountains of Bolivia. So I'm not going to know what part Carib or Mapuche I am. Your DNA. Spring says the Moors were in Spain for hundreds of years and lots of them pretended to be Catholics and not be kicked out. There had to be some internet. Of course. Adrian says everyone south of the border is Mexican. I'm not. Someone called me Cuban the other day and I was like, how dare you compare me to those savages on that island? Okay. I descend from other savages. Okay. Half of me is not savage. They're Chilean. They are the British of Latin America, actually. Okay. We drink tea at 11. The other half, okay, maybe the Venezuelans are a little savage. But don't compare me to those island people that have no food. Okay. Don't compare me to them. J-Boss says 23andMe can't keep your DNA. It's way too expensive. It take cooling to do that. But I think they sold the 23andMe and the DNA went along with it. And Spring says knuckle dragging antis like those area don't like Fuentes. Ignore them. True. I mean, I can't ignore them because he ran for Congress in my state. You know. J-Boss says, yes, Sephardic Jews with Spaniard genes. That's my point. You can see by that's what I'm saying. 23andMe is not accurate because their algorithms are biased towards interesting results as per their papers. However, you can export the results and get accurate. Oh, okay. I heard that there was a place, there's like another service that's good, and they put it on the blockchain and it's really good. But all right, I might do that one of these days. I want to get the one about genetic testing for diseases, but even then I'm LARPing because I'm Hispanic. I know what diseases I have. I have high cholesterol. I have diabetes. I have prostate cancer colon cancer. That's what we die of. And obviously heart problems. That's what we die of. Like what? Oh, I'm going to get ahead of. Oh, I had no idea I had the gene for this specific disease. We know what we get. And sickle cell if you're Black Hispanic. J-Boss says the DNA did not go along with sale. They don't have anyone's DNA. I promise you. They just have genetics chip results. Interesting. All right, I'll check that out. All right. Let's get back over here. So this here is great. This is horrible. Okay, let's just play it through.
I am a product of First Resurrection Nation of Islam and Black Panther, but I still have slavery rape fantasies, and it gets me the fuck off to the point I will wet my bed. So let's talk about that.
What? What did she say?
But I still have slavery rape fantasies, and it gets me the fuck off to the point I will wet my bed. So let's talk about that.
All right, we got a lot more to get to.
Okay, so this is where I become a Black man. This is where I become a 70-year-old Black man from Mississippi. What is going on with my people? What is going on with my community? Oh, KL, you're not Black. I know. But I feel this now. You know, this is where the AAV comes out. What finna happen to my people? Everybody and their cousin, how we gonna survive this? We have the sister, the Nubian queen, saying that she wants the slave master to sleep with her. I have never seen a bed wench after slavery.
We brainwashed out here, bro.
What is going on with my people? What's going on over here? Hang on. Let's one more time. What are the what?
Panther. But I still have slavery rape fantasies, and it gets me the fuck off to the point I will wet my bed. So let's talk about that.
What are we going to do with her? If the Black community is going to survive, we need to take desperate measures here.
You know, we're gonna send you someplace that you're not gonna like.
And he's like, I'm not afraid of Guantanamo. I said, Guantanamo? I never said I was gonna send you to Guantanamo.
I'm gonna send you to Jerusalem.
Imagine a sister talking like that. What is that? And so now this is, all right, I'm back to me being Hispanic. I don't have fantasies of being assaulted by Spaniard conquistadors. What? We are lost, man. We's lost, man.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
What are we gonna do here, folks? What are we gonna do here? I need to be, it has to be me and I don't know, Clarence Thomas, the spirit of W.E. Du Bois, and a copy of the Malcolm X autobiography uploaded to ChatGPT, and we can fix the black community. Because this is how are we gonna survive this, sister? How when what? Why you hate yourself, Nubian Queen? This is where I go full Hotep, man. I see you got the dashiki on, but where is the kufi? Oh, 100 years, and we're still brainwashed.
We brainwashed out here, bro.
This is where I get Kanye. And I go like, was he wrong when he said slavery was a choice? Because I see this, and I go, how was it not a choice? We have people choosing to be slaves every day in their mind. This sister needs to go to a re-education camp. It can't be this way. Can't be this way. Kevin Samuels, where are you, man? Daybot says, look at the guy's face when you pause. Let's see real quick. Let's see the reaction. Look at this. This is the face of, hello, darkness, my old friend.
So let's talk about that.
All right, yo, we got a lot more to get to.
Who would possibly give this Nubian queen the idea that she would be better off being taken against her will by a white slave master? Who could possibly plant that idea in her head?
He could only have gotten that idea from Benjamin Netanyahu. That's it.
Sick. I don't know what's happening to my people, man. I don't know what's happening to my people. I don't know what's happening. Let's continue. You can skip this for the day. Let's get over here. This is now my people, even though they're not my people. So ICE deported a Cuban man to the Congo. Let's check out how he's adapting over there.
Y Yasmani, no pueden salir de ese edificio. You cannot leave that building.
No, con el oficial solamente, aquí afuera. Porque ya se llevaron a él a Daniel.
Wow.
Nos tienen aquí detenidos en un centro. No podemos salir, no tenemos documentos, sufriendo por nuestra familia. En un continente que no conocemos, otra cultura. Hay mucha violencia aquí en la calle, no podemos salir.
Los Estados Unidos nunca te avisó que te iban a deportar a África. The U.S. never gave you notice that you were getting sent to Africa.
No, a las 5 horas en el avión fue que vine a enterarme que veníamos a África.
Were you deported because of a criminal record?
Yo no tengo ningún antecedente criminal, solo infracciones de tránsito.
Where are the other deportees from?
Nepal,
Nepal, Vietnam, Cuba, Ecuador, Honduras, and Africa, and Russia too. Pero ninguno de ustedes es de ese país. None of you are from that country.
No, ninguno somos de este país.
None. Están atrapados. You're stuck.
Estamos atrapados en este edificio.
Y en África, and in Africa.
Y en África, otro continente que no conocemos. Y este es un país bien violento, que lo he buscado en YouTube. Puede ser que nos vean sin documento y nos pueden matar, nos pueden arrestar como le pasó al compañero Daniel ayer.
So, when I was growing up with Obama, let's be frank here. I don't like Obama. I think he was funny. You know, I love, as I always say, this is my favorite Obama moment.
You didn't build that.
You didn't build that was amazing. It was great, right? But there was a lot of racism towards Obama. Okay, let's be frank. You can admit it now. Tea Party, okay, birthers. There was a lot of racism. Okay, it's been enough time. The statute of limitations have run out. And I remember there was always this racist thing they would say where they would be like, send him back to Africa, you know? And that was partially like something that Black Americans, true FBAs, you know, they had dealt with that for hundreds of years where they said, send them back to Africa. Now, Obama's dad was from Africa, so it was a little different, but it was still the same insult. And that was considered like an apex racism. Like, you don't tell someone, hey, go back to Africa, right? That you're not. But this is like Nietzschean uber racism. Because you're telling a Cuban to go back to Africa, a Honduran to go back to Africa. What? I mean, I know we have some of that in our genes. Now, Hondurans don't. They're like just indigenous in Spanish. But go back to Africa and what? He should learn some French. He's going to need that in the Congo. Okay? But go back. Is this something that people are going to start saying to white people too? You need to go back to Africa. You need to go back to Africa, you Yakubian menace. Like, we're sending everyone back to Africa? Out of Africa theory confirmed? That's how. Isn't it more expensive to send someone back to Africa than to send a Honduran to Honduras? Not even back. Isn't it more expensive to send someone to Africa? I've always wanted to go to the Congo. Do you know how much it costs to go to the Congo? Let me pull this up here. Let's look it up on Gemini. Currently, what is the total cost of flying from Miami to Kinshasa? Consider airfare and fees and document and legal. What's total cost? Dude, it cost $1,300 round trip. That's expensive. It costs like $100 to go to Honduras. 2 stops, you have to stop. Where do you stop? You stop in Brussels. Stop in Belgium, which makes sense, former colonizer. This seems like a waste of time, and that's a 26-hour flight. J-Boss says, damn, Trump hates Cubans. This guy's barely... But, dude, even if he was a black Cuban, what? He's going to fit into the Congo of all places? I want to go to the... I would like to go to the Congo. I really would. But it's too expensive. That is... Trump is doing real-life Call of Duty. Like, you're getting put on... you're going to be deported on veteran mode, okay? You're going to drop into Nazi Zombies, Call of Duty, Black Ops 1, and you're going to go straight to round 14, survive, the dogs round. Like, what? I feel like this is a waste of time and money. All right. Let's get to the next segment. Why don't we get to the next segment? Let's do that. Where are we?
The people are retarded.
Let's check this out here. All right. We have a lot to get through over here in terms of our fellow man. 1 second here, real quick. Let me check something out that my producer sent over. We can save that for tomorrow. Yeah, we'll save that for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do a Lindsay Clancy follow. Tomorrow's Friday Forum. Everyone, tomorrow's the Friday Forum. Join the Discord. The link is in the description. If it's not, ask me for it. And tomorrow we get on here and we just talk. We talk. I do a little monologue to set the stage for like 10 to 15 minutes. And then we just talk. We have Simosian and J Boss usually and Jesse. Let's get more people on there. Let's get more people on the Friday Forum. All you have to do is join on Discord. and you can get on here. We can all talk together. So join us for the Friday 4. I see Iron Hammer's here. Iron, join us tomorrow, man. CCTV, Spring, join us here. You know, because the Google Voice, we can't talk to each other, but Discord, we can. Let's check over here. I guess here we have to do the PBD watch real quick, just so we can be really immersed in what we're watching.
Feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it. And then there's the lions that live in the jungle who have to go get their own meat. I'll give you an idea. And you refuse to hunt. You email me, I won't respond. You DM me, I will not respond. Not on LinkedIn, not on Twitter. Dropping the N-word.
Dropping the N-word. All right, let's check out here what Tony Robbins,
Red and green,
Patrick Bet David are doing. No, J-Boss, we won't do the racism one tomorrow. I haven't even decided. We'll see. Maybe it'll be Canada.
red and green flags in marriage. Sharing your phone password.
I don't have a problem.
Doesn't like your parents.
Oh, that's a problem.
That's a bit of a challenge.
Checks your phone when you go to the bathroom.
I don't care if that happens. It's not my wife.
I literally could care less.
Only does the deed once a month.
The deed.
What is the deed? Like,
I think of the sense.
This is a big red flag.
Refuses to sleep in the same bed.
Not good.
No way.
Talks about your marriage problems with their parents.
They're going to do that anyway.
Depends on the parents. If the parent supports me, go for it all day long, right?
Has a guy best friend. Threatens divorce during an argument.
It's a big red flag.
If you start threatening, it's the end of a relationship.
Demands a prenup.
She demands a prenup? I'm going to ask for a prenup.
I'm supposed to have a prenup. Everybody told me to. And I said I'd give my wife everything if she took it. I'd be happy to.
There you go.
By the way, and she didn't take it.
Taps out after 4 kids.
Taps out after 4 kids?
I think every woman should have a right to tap out after 4 kids.
You want to start a fight?
And lastly, what's your most important piece of marriage advice?
The most important marriage advice I could say to you is stop focusing on yourself and focus on your partner. When you love somebody, what you do for them, anything. If that remains how you were in the beginning, there isn't an end. But if you suddenly change where everything's conditional, then it's not the same relationship, and that's you, that's not them.
Okay, so first of all, we have to establish that this is a perfect encapsulation of what America is right now. We have here, I don't know where this studio is, 2 guys, one of them complete scammer, PBD, one of my favorite Americans. George Washington pictured PBD in his mind when he was fighting for the country. And here we have Tony Robbins. Let me put you on something real quick. Tony Robbins is a very interesting guy because Tony Robbins is a hypnotist, by the way. He's not really a self-motivation guy, okay? And I see that Iron Hammer says, I'd like to get in there. Adrian, you better join us tomorrow. I'm going to see if by tomorrow I can get the phone line to talk to the Discord, get you on here. And Ringo, if you're watching, man, get on here too. Ringo's a cool guy, guys. I need to respond to him on Telegram. I'm going to do that. I told him yesterday. Look at this. This is interesting. This is Tony Robbins. He's known for his self-help motivation. This guy, I know you look at him and you're like, this guy's a scammer or something. No, he's a genius. This isn't his real name, Tony Robbins. His real name is Anthony J. Maharoborovich. People don't know this, okay? Look at this early life. Very interesting, okay? He was born in California, eldest of 3 children. His parents divorced. His mother remarried several times, including a marriage with Jim Robbins, a professional basketball player, semi-pro. He's a Croatian from both sides of his family. He's not white. I thought he was white. He's just Croatian. I mean, maybe Croatians are white. I don't know. I don't have the studies in front of me. But I think of Croatians and I think of Chileans because we have a lot of Croatian people from Dalmatia, actually. We have a lot of Dalmatians in Chile. And so Tony Robbins here is a guy who had a very rough upbringing and got a mentor and was able to start writing self-help books. All right. Look at that. His home life was chaotic and abusive. And at 17, he left his home and never returned. Worked as a janitor and did not attend college. This is a real American story. Okay. So I don't call him a scammer in the PBD sense, right? But if we see this here,
I don't have a problem.
There's nothing more American than this. This is like a bad studio here with Optimus Prime in the background for some reason. For anyone that didn't watch Transformers, this is like a Chinese version of the Optimus Prime because it's not perfect. This looks like Saddam Hussein's palace or something. You know, whenever you look at some dictator like Gaddafi or Hugo Chavez's palace, something's always broken or off. You see how like this wall isn't perfectly flat. The lighting is higher over here. Okay. And so here we have two guys that have achieved the American dream, one through insurance life scams and one through self-motivation, talking to us about how to keep a happy wife, happy life. And I want to play here really quick the first one again.
Red and green flags in marriage. Sharing your phone password.
Also, everything being reduced to Jubilee style because we can't think anymore in this country. Multiple choice ruined the American mind. That wasn't normal in the past. And now that it's multiple choice, we can only think in binaries of thumbs up or thumbs down.
I don't have a problem.
So see that question one more time.
Sharing your phone password.
I don't have a problem. I already have a problem with this. Look, it's a nuanced thing, right? Because if they ask you if you should share your phone password with your partner, my answer would be no. You don't share your phone password with your partner off the bat. Why would I need your phone password? No. But eventually in any relationship, you do end up sharing your phone password out of convenience. You're like, hey, can you do this for me real quick? What's your password? And you give it to, and you learn each other's phone passwords. That's just normal. But here we have like total, is this cucked? I don't even know what to call it.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
If your partner, man or woman, if you're a lady or a guy, says, I need your phone password right now, you gotta say no. That's fucking weird. Why do you need my phone password? We're not doing anything that requires that for you. Okay, why this lack of privacy is insane. You need to have your own privacy. If you choose to have your phone be private in a relationship, what's the problem with that? We live separate lives. But as I say, because this is binary, it's thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay. But there's also a middle ground, which is that eventually, I'm sure everyone knows this, you do share your password. Because I don't know, your phone is across the room and you forgot to pay your credit card bill. You say, hey, can you please go in there and pay it for me? Will you, honey? Will you do that for me? And someday she's like, hey, can you go into this and figure out this app? I don't get it. And you just learn it, right? You learn it. And that's how, but everything here, this is America. It's not the Andrew Wilson show, but here we are, just total happy wife, happy life. No, man. We deserve privacy. We deserve privacy. We deserve it. Man and woman. I don't get this. Share your phone password. And they also said, check your phone while you're in the bathroom. Check my phone. What am I? Your slave? Check my phone. Why don't you have a conversation? Because that's crazy. I have never in any relationship, friend, girlfriend, wife, parent said, let me check your phone real. That's crazy. That's insane. If someone asks you, I need to check your phone, you should immediately say, get the fuck away from me, you freak. That's crazy to me that people are just walking around like, oh yeah, I'll share my phone with someone. Yeah, whatever, I don't care. It's your phone. It's important. Adrian says disable your Face ID. I've never activated Face ID on this phone, on any phone. I don't trust Face ID. Not even because of the other person. If you're at a port of entry, they are legally allowed to use your Face ID to open your phone. I'm not doing that. I know I should have a long password, but I don't. But Face ID. Fuck you. Fuck you. Ridiculous. Let's continue. Whoa, no, this one. Let's check in on, speaking of the ladies, I've been harsh on the men for the past few months. We're being a little harsh on the ladies as of late. Let's check out what the ladies are doing now. I'll read you the caption right after this.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
So let me read you the caption here. This is Sharabi's study. Watch the full course. The Scarlet Letter A doesn't do easy or comfortable. It does chest opening, leg openings, and playful struggle. In this series, Kiss Me Deadly Doll walks you through this optionless predicament step by step, from the Hojo cuff Tengu into a strenuous position with additional options for bottoms who want more. I have a question. If Abu Ghraib happened today, would it even be a scandal? Or are we so, what is this porno? Is this OnlyFans? Is this the books? What's going on here? What is this? If they put this in Guantanamo, like if this leaked out of Guantanamo, they were doing this to KSM, every civil rights attorney would be like, you're not allowed to do that. That's a stress position. That's against the Geneva Convention. But people are paying money to figure out how to be put in a stress position by something. What's going on here? When I was a kid, the Marquis de Sade, 120 days of Salo, all that stuff was for the deviants, the people on the side. And in fact, I remember gay people used to say, you guys are so vanilla to the straight people. Now I wonder if the gay people are like, yo, you people are scary, man. What is going on here? I don't even understand the psychology behind this. Do you want to this isn't like handcuffs or something. This is something else. This is a little strange to me. You want to be tied up in bamboo like you're some sort of, I don't know, Falun Gong member and Xi Jinping just found you? And he's like, we must eliminate the Falun Gong, tie them up, and then we will harvest their kidney. What is this? What is but seriously, what is this? You know, if the UN were a real institution, they would see this and declare a binding resolution saying that America must be shut down until we can figure out what the hell is going on. Because maybe this always existed in private, and that's fine. You know, people have a right to get freaky. Why is this public now? That's crazy. This is crazy. Crazy. Now we're going to talk about how retarded both of them are, the man and the woman. Let's check this out here. Let's see what the lovely couple in America what the lovely couples in America are doing.
Yeah, loaded here.
Bro, you just chipped my fucking tooth.
One more time.
Yeah, loaded here.
So the gun is empty and it's racked back, right? And so he's gonna release the slide.
Bro, you just chipped my fucking tooth.
And he chips her. What is this? What's going on? What is this? Both of you are to blame here. This is one of these things that makes me realize that perhaps the liberals are right and conservatives, as usual, are wrong.
Conservatives are the worst. You cannot work with them. You have to be in opposition to them. You have to oppose them constantly, even when they sound like you, especially when they sound like you. And you need to deplatform conservatives.
You know, as a Floridian, I'm pretty pro-gun. I love guns. I think guns are great. We should all have guns. But then I see this and I go, actually, you shouldn't. Because even the argument for the Second Amendment is that someday the government is going to be so tyrannical and we're going to go out there and fight them. Supposedly, that it's a fantasy. But I just like them, okay? But even if we had the Second Amendment for that reason, do you want these two to be on side when you go to the big war? You know, like the big war, when it happens with the government, this is not the Boogaloo show. I'm not encouraging that. But if it were to happen, do you want this couple on side? That would be a good one, Adrian. Do you want this couple to be on side? I'm going to add that, Adrian. Hang on. I'm going to look that up right now. Let me save that there. It's like Hassan Piker, America Deserved. That's hilarious. We're going to have that on there. I just don't understand this. I don't. But you know, as this wise black man says,
you know how we say it take a village to raise a child? But what if the village is retarded? What you think it's going to produce?
We can't have the Second Amendment anymore, folks. We can't have it. We need to bring back tests and all that. Who told you this would be a good idea? Then these people will complain that there's not free dental care. And I'm going to go, hang on, did you hold a gun to your mouth and release the slide and chip your tooth? Yeah, you're not getting free dental care. Go suffer. This country is crazy, man. Speaking of, let's check in over here on this lady over here. Let's see what's going on here.
I gave my son maxi pads to put in his bag to provide for his friends, and somebody accused me of emasculating him. And I just really want to drive home the point that when that is being said, what you are saying is expecting my son or any young man to carry a maxi pad to provide for his friends is emasculating. Masculinity is being weak, squeamish, and unable to provide. Expecting my son to be able to provide, not grossed out, able to stand up to peer pressure if some other boy sees it and is like, why are you carrying a maxi pad? That's emasculating him.
Now, let me just say, first of all, I carry around tampons. Not for this reason, but because I have frequent nosebleeds. And I learned, because I'm not Andrew Wilson, I learned this from the ladies, that tampons are very good at absorbing blood. So I've had a box of tampons in my house for probably like 3 years. You know, it's the same one. I bought a big box and I always have one on me because I'm like, dude, if I start bleeding, it's a pain in the ass to get the tissue paper and do it. It doesn't absorb right. Put a tampon up there. I know the chemicals are bad or whatever, but if I'm bleeding, I need to put that in immediately. But this, I don't even understand. I thought we were broke in this country.
I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
We're broke here. How do you have money to do peer-to-peer welfare? You know, we talk a lot, at least I was told to talk about it in the 2010s, about the pink tax. Meaning that the ladies pay more for stuff than men. You know, female branded things. Well, what is this? So what we want to do is democratize the pink tax. We want everyone to pay it instead of, I don't know, getting rid of it. And also, in what scenario is a young woman going to go to a guy and say, hey, do you have a maxi pad on you? I'm bleeding. What? The tampons that I've never offered a tampon to a woman. I just have it in my pocket, and if I start bleeding, I'll put it in. Okay, this is feminism. This is what Susan B. Anthony was fighting for. Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of the community, my community, the Black American community suffering, this came out last week and they're still talking about this. Let's look at this here. Look at this here.
I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write. I literally broke down in the middle of class because I'm teaching seniors. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish. We had 2 paragraphs to read, 1 sentence complete to write. I gave them the sentence stems. I basically completed the sentence for them in the model. These are 17 and 18-year-old kids, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. 4 words. I gave them the scenario. We annotated together. I gave them the answers before we even had the problem. And they couldn't do it.
J-Boss says sensational. Well, I don't agree, but
Sensational.
You gotta drop it. You know, as an anti-literacy guy, I should be happy about this, but what has happened to my community?
What the fuck happened to you, man? Your ass used to be beautiful.
You know, I grew up on black stuff. Like, I grew up on Family Matters, In Living Color, Roots. I read Up From Slavery, Malcolm, moving on up to the East Side, The Jeffersons, The Cosby Show. I never watched Full House or any of the white I couldn't relate to them. I related more to the black sitcoms. And obviously George Lopez when we got it, which, by the way, if you're a George Lopez fan, you have to thank a white woman for that. Because you know who made that movie? That TV show? Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock put her money where her mouth is. And she got that approved for George Lopez. That's right. That's right. And I like George Lopez. That was good. They're Mexican, but I could relate to it, you know? What happened, man? What happened? If there's any community that should be focused on taking advantage of every resource available in America, it is the black community. It is. You know, I have a problem with literacy, but this is why it's a problem. Because people never learn how to actually read. And when the black teacher is breaking down here, he's like, these youngins, man, they can't read. This is happening all over the world, dude. In Latin America, you're hard to find someone who has read Don Quixote. I've read like half. I haven't finished it. It's a great book. You should read it if you speak Spanish. Read the translation into modern Spanish. It's very good. I can't read the original. And there's LARPers that say they can read it. You cannot read the original Don Quixote. You can't read it. Dude, there's words that don't exist anymore, and they don't know what they meant. They can only infer. Okay, you got to read the translation. What is going on with the community? Can't we fix it? What is this? And you can't blame the black boomers. If there's good boomers in America, it has to be mostly the black boomers. You know, they went through it. They really did. They had to fight their way up. You know, they were on the Edmund Pettus Bridge getting their ass beat for civil rights and all that. They fought so that their subsequent generations would be able to read, would be able to do math, you know? And I want that. Genuinely, I would want that. But if we can't even get the reading part down, then we got to stop teaching people how to read. Because if they only know how to read half, then it's a problem. Because then, and this is true of the whites, the blacks, the Hispanics, people don't know how to read. And then they read something stupid and it hijacks their mind. What happened to the black community?
What the fuck is this? Whose ass didn't I kiss?
You know, you get the civil rights, you get the Voting Rights Act, you end slavery. And a couple decades later, people can't even read again. When the black boomers are gone, I'm going to miss them, man. I was in a Waffle House in North Florida a few months ago. And I was there with a friend. And this older black couple walked in and they sat down at the counter. And they were probably in their, you know, black people age differently, right? So like they were probably 80, but they didn't look a day over 55. And I'm looking at them while I'm eating, and I tell my friend, I'm like, yo, isn't it crazy that they couldn't eat there? Literally just like 60 years ago, in their 20s, in their 30s, they couldn't eat there. And now they can. And it's so archaic when you think about it. I don't know. I know we have a resident racist here and everything. But you have to admit that that's pretty crazy. That the government was telling people that they're not allowed to have black people at the counter. That's wild. That if you really think about it on a like very basic level, and you're like, hang on, you made a law so that black people couldn't eat next. It's not like a private business saying you can't eat with us. It's the government saying you can't eat here. And the private business is like, I'm following the law. I have to do this. That's crazy to me. That's so archaic. That's outside of my mind. I can't comprehend that. Imagine walking into a restaurant and they're like, you can't eat here because you're Hispanic, or you can't eat here because you're white. You'd go, what? Why? The law says you can't do it. The law? Do you want me to eat here? Personally, I'd love to take your money, but the law says I can't. What? Cool. That's crazy. And I know that there's like revisionist history from even the black community on segregation. Maybe segregation wasn't that bad. But if you think of it as a concept living nowadays, you're like, that's pretty wild, And so when I see a black boomer at Waffle House, I'm like, this is a good guy, man. I'm sure he worked his whole life doing some sort of job. Like maybe he was a laborer, maybe he was an HVAC technician. Or maybe he was able to take advantage of the GI Bill, fought in Vietnam, and then he became an engineer or something. Maybe he didn't do shit with his life, actually. And now he's just old and collecting Social Security. But I'm sure at the time, the black community was like, dude, we can do something now. We have an opportunity. And now, it's not, how is this happening? J-Bot says, no, it's not crazy they couldn't eat there. No one is owed the right to eat among white people. If you think about it at a tribal level, it's not wild at all. Am I owed the right to eat with the pygmies? In Japan, you can't eat there because you're not Japanese is common. Not wild, not crazy, tribal. I guess, but what gets me is the legal side, where they wrote statutes in the law and they said, you can't do this. What? Look, obviously in America, at least, people are going to self-segregate a little bit. It happened to me. When I went to China, I went on an American tour, and there were white people there were black people, and there were some Hispanics. And the Hispanics were Cubans and Mexicans. And normally, we don't really get along. Venezuelans, Cubans, and Mexicans. Venezuelans and Cubans somewhat, but not really. And over the course of the trip, there was no hate involved, but everyone was kind of gravitating towards their group. The Hispanics were speaking in Spanish, and the white people were being crazy, man. They were racing in the parking lot. I was like, what's wrong with you? And the black people were there. They were just like, they were there like, they were having a great time because every Chinese person was asking for a picture. They were like, I'm a celebrity. I feel like Beyonce. And both us and the blacks would look at the whites racing in the parking lot or trying. They were being super bold. They were messing with the Chinese people. And we were like, I remember there was a black man there who was like, I don't know, these white people keep messing with these Chinese people. You watch, you're not in America. These are Chinese people. They don't play like that. And I was like, in my mind, I agree, brother. Like they everyone kind of went with their own group, but it wasn't enforced or anything. If it had been enforced, then you're like, that's crazy. How does that happen? J-Boss says, law is a white people thing. Africans never had laws before. There had to be legal systems in Africa of some sort, right? Even rudimentary ones. Like the Indians here, we had legal systems. The Incans had legal systems, and the Mapuche and the Incas. I'm sure there had to be something, right? I'm sure Mansa Musa and the Mali Empire had some sort of law system and all that. I'm sure you're like deep in the jungles, probably not, right? How do you even develop a law system when you're deep in the jungle? Where are you going to write it down? You've generalizing these concepts too quickly beyond whites. Well, no, the Chinese had laws, right? I feel like a lot of people had laws. Come on, let's ask Gemini. That's not even speculate. Then we're going to get to the main story. Let's ask Gemini. And look, I'll even ask it right. Did any sub-Saharan African group have sort of system for the arrival of Europeans. I'm sure there had to. I'm sure there had to. Large West and Central African states operated formal judicial hierarchies, constitutional structures, and statutory code. Mali Empire. Hey, I got it. After the founding of the Mali Empire, Sundita Keita and his assembly proclaimed the Kurukan Fuga. This orally transmitted constitutional charter regulated civil rights, property ownership, environmental management. That's cool. Benin, Nigeria, structured court hierarchy. They were local disputes were heard by village heads and Ogi, while major criminal matters landed were brought before the Oba, the king. Council chiefs, the Ekhabeben, well, the Norwegian, Ekhabeben, the Ashanti, they had one too. And then I assume here, yeah, Horn of Africa. This is where it gets, dude, how do you make something down there? No, wait, Horn of Africa, that's Somalia. They're going to have Sharia law. A polycentric legal system that functions like customary common law. Wow, dude, I bet you, like, I'm sure in the Congo, like, how do you have a legal system? They had to have some sort of legal system. No way. Come on, man. I thought that you were a racialist scholar here. All right. Well, let's watch this last one here just to see. We're going to talk maybe about the gender wars a little more tomorrow. But just to get, I want you guys to see the grift around the gender wars, and then we'll get to the main story. Let's watch this.
Get up. No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna do. Melissa, I come home from work. The house is all dirty. What do you do all day?
I've been working.
Working?
Just because you go into work and I work off my computer doesn't mean anything.
Working? It looks like you haven't been working because the house is all dirty. The dishes are still out. How about you go clean them? Like, because it's your job.
Those are your dishes.
I don't care. It's your job.
It's not my job.
I don't think that any man under the age of like 75 has spoken to their domestic partner in this way. And you should be suspicious.
I'm your wife.
The woman.
Ever since we've gotten married, why have you started acting like this?
You are the woman. It's your job. You know what? I'm gonna go find another woman, all right?
Go
This
ahead.
doesn't even matter.
Go ahead. I don't
that
care.
actually does
I'd
her
rather
job.
be with someone that does 50-50 and doesn't think the
I'll actually
women.
go get someone that does her job.
Okay,
in the
good.
house.
You go find someone. Good,
Like,
good
cleans
luck.
the house
Good
and
luck
does the
finding
dishes.
someone that's gonna put up with your bull.
It's not bull. Now get up. I'll make you do the dishes.
And notice how there's no curse words. This should make you a little suspicious.
Oh,
How
you're
about
not
that?
making me do anything.
How about you get up
away
and
from
go
me,
get...
Look at this. Pressing my Invisaware necklace for help. So this whole thing is an ad for whatever this is.
Don't touch me.
Get up.
No,
and
I'm not gonna.
go do the
No, I'm not gonna
dishes.
do
Friends and family notify.
anything. Back away from me. I'm
It's your
serious.
job.
It's not my job.
Then get out of my house.
Okay, I will.
Get up.
Imagine if you're in a relationship and the woman is wearing this pendant. You're going to go, are you crazy? I saw this on TikTok. This is how the gender war is used to further strain relationships. This is why I hate whatever podcast and Andrew Wilson. And this is on the other side. This grift here is designed to make money, to hurt people. Imagine, David Cross has a great joke from the early 2000s about, they used to have a drink testing kit that they would give to women. And David Cross's joke goes, imagine if you went to the bar and you're like, hey, how you doing, honey? Let me buy you a drink. You buy her a drink. And she goes, 1 second. I need to take out my drink testing kit. If this turns purple, I have to leave. You're going to be, okay, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is, the funny thing is the woman that needs this is not going to grab it because no one argues like this. I assume they just start beating on you. Our boy Neptune, I'm getting back to your comments. He commented on the episode where we talked about last week about guys who hit their wives. He was like, dude, guys that hit their wives, in my experience, don't fight other men because they're pussies. But I think a guy that hits his wife, you're not going to have enough time to press the pendant. And if he sees you wearing that, he's going to hit you even harder. It's crazy. J-Boss says, orally transmitted. Those are known as customary laws, which is a nice name for tribal knowledge praxis. Let's see this here. Let's go back really quick. Let me check this chat. 1 second. Let me see this here. Were any of these written? I feel like in Timbuktu, man, they had to have these in those buildings. Yes, some were recorded in writing, though the vast majority were maintained orally. Dude, you can't move the goalposts too, right? Because even an oral tradition, it's like England, right? England doesn't have a written constitution. They have an oral constitution. Are they African in England? Maybe nowadays. I'm kidding. But literacy tradition. So Timbuktu, dude, I am an expert. I'm an expert. I called it immediately. Timbuktu. I knew it. I knew it had to be Timbuktu. And the Niger Band, Sokoto Caliphate, and Swahili Coast. They adopted Arabic characters, right? I knew that about Swahili. Well, there were some. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, and look at where England is now, but fair enough, Timbuktu. That's what I'm saying, man. We all, as Kanye said, everyone has something to offer the world. Especially, no. We're not going to finish that. All right. So we're going to look at our latest slop story here today. Now you're going to love this story. Ooh. We are back to the Canada storyline. Let me just organize this real quick. Okay. Where did I put this? Here we go. Right here. We're going to look at this over here. Let's check this out. So President Trump is all right. Yeah, Timbuktu is I see Iron Hammer saying it. They have those famous mud mosques, but dude, it's not like regular mud. These things have been around forever. That's just like using the materials available to you. Dude, like these are supposed to be these survive fire, storms, everything. These are the mosques that they have over there. Dude, this stuff is supposedly super, super strong. I want to see this. I want to go to Timbuktu. Look at that. I know that they have a bunch of stuff in here. In the famous one, they have a bunch of library shit. It's really old. Like they have a very, very long tradition of written works being stored there. Which is pretty cool. Come on, man. This is a pretty cool building. We have buildings that look like this in Hialeah, in Florida. Look at this. The Curtis Mansion in Miami. They inspired. Yeah, it kind of looks like that. It's taken from Timbuktu. This is Curtis, the guy, one of the World War II aviation pioneers. He built this this was his mansion in Hialeah, in Florida. There's a bunch of buildings in Hialeah that look like this. It's pretty cool. All right. Let's get to the story. All right. So, President Trump, yesterday or the day before yesterday, threatened Canada, and he said that he wanted for us to do a trade deal for that French Canadians to stop speaking French. Which, if you know anything about the Quebecois, they don't take kindly to that. Quebec is the only country in the world where stop signs are in another language. They're in French. They say arrête instead of stop. Even in France, they say stop. And in Quebec, they say arrête. Let me prove it to you, man. Let me prove it to you. The show's a lot looser these days. I enjoy talking like this because then we can have fun. Let me show you this here. So let me learn you something. Arrête. Stop sign. Look at this. They say arrête. In France, it's not like this. It's only in Quebec. They take this very seriously. I'm pretty sure in Quebec, it's illegal to only have things in one language. They fine you for it. All right. Pretty crazy. All right. And the French Canadians were not happy with it. And President Trump tweeted, I would never, ever, ever in my whole life interfere with Canadians speaking French. I would never do that. In fact, I have never even thought of doing such a stupid thing. Well, he did ask them to stop speaking French. This lie was made up by a weak and ineffective prime minister in an attempt to gain political support, which he has totally lost from the people of Quebec. I love the French Canadians. President Donald Trump. What did he say here?
To a deal with Canada. As you know, the 50% tariffs across the board were going on against Canada today. And they called yesterday and they gave us the points that we had to have. Very fair deal for both. the tariffs will be non-existent for our farmers. Our farmers were paying tremendous tariffs into Canada, and those tariffs are going to be totally eviscerated, down to zero.
Is the U.S. going to lower tariffs on Canadian autos or
We're doing certain things. You got to give something, and we're doing certain things. They were paying a high number. We're reducing it a little bit. It's good for everybody. But our farmers are going to be thrilled. Our manufacturers are going to be thrilled. And basically, we have no tariffs going into Canada anymore. Canada was charging us tremendous tariffs. We no longer have any tariffs. And what I was able to do is we put, as you know, under the new tariff, I guess you'd call it the new tariff schedules that we came out with. They were going to get a 50% tariff on everything starting today. And we've held it back 3 days. It's all subject to finalization of documents. So subject to the finalization of documents, we have a deal with Canada. And I think it's a very good deal for both parties. It's great for our farmers. Our farmers will no longer be held up because they were being hurt very badly by Canada. Yeah.
So President Trump had like mellowed out a little bit. You know, he was, we're going to make a deal. I love the French Canadian. J'aime les Québécois. J'aime manger le poutine. Moi, j'aime visiter la cité du Québec et Montréal aussi. Moi, j'aime beaucoup visiter Québec parce que là, je peux manger de le poulet à Saint-Hubert. Saint-Hubert, c'est le meilleur resto en tout Canada. Et la meilleure boulangerie du monde s'appelle Première Moisson et elle est seulement en Québec. Okay? That's you know, he's totally like, dude, we're totally chilling. We're chilling. Okay? J-Boss says, arrête is a cognate with English, arrest. Every French E with circonflex. With the caret. That's what that's called in English. Accent circonflex is called a caret. That's great. I only learned it in French. Used to be S. I didn't know that. Arrête. Les Québécois, je suis Québécois. Moi, j'aime visiter Paris. Chaque jour, chaque année, chaque an, je visite Paris pour voir mon cousin, Jacques. Il est le patron d'une société qui est chargée avec les bâtiments. Il faut prendre les bâtiments, c'est lui. Alors, moi, j'aime ça. C'est tout Canadien qui parle anglais. Ils sont le diable. You know, all right, anyway, that's enough of my... Dude, I need to move to Quebec for like half a year to refresh my French. I love speaking French. When I get drunk, I start speaking in French. All right. Anyway, so things were chilling out. Everything was mellowing out, you know. And then let's play this here, okay? Let's say this here. This is Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, American Psycho, my favorite.
Impressive. Very nice.
What does he have to say about this Canada thing as well as tariffs? How you doing, Samoja?
If Democrats were to assume power in the White House, for example, don't be so sure that those tariffs will be reversed. Traditionally, you know, Republicans were actually more pro-free trade than Democrats were. Obviously, that has reversed in recent years. Can you assure Canadians who are watching this conversation that the tariffs that you know have been applied to our country and our exports to the United States under Democratic leadership would be reversed, would not be in existence?
I think it's the right question, and to be fair, it's a foundational question on the basis of experience. You had Biden who came in and actually maintained some of the tariff policy of the Trump administration, particularly China, not just in relationship to other countries, but notably in China. And so I think, look, having targeted tariff policy is an industrial policy. This is not an industrial policy. What Trump's doing across the board on hockey sticks, and everything else. This is a tantrum. Being played out, honestly, it's literally a tantrum. I mean, the idea that he circles, I mean, this is the President of the United States that circles, the Lake of Ontario, making a Lake of America. I mean, it's just madness. But it's, again, weakness at the same time. And I think it's important that be reinforced. And so I can't guarantee that, but I can guarantee you nothing like this. The level of disrespect, talking past people, talking down to people, talking past and down to you, talking about the 51st state on the basis of our history, our proud past, our present, how important you are to our future and the world we're trying to build. No, those days are numbered. When Donald Trump's no longer president, that I can guarantee you, you won't see something like this again. I really believe that in my core, even from most Republican aspirants to the White House as well.
Very impressive, Gavin.
It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining.
Very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, I'm very impressed by Gavin's all the rigmarole there. That means the tariffs are here to stay. Okay, and this is not unexpected. If the government, God, dude, I'm about to sound like Dave Smith, like a libertarian. It's a boo. This guy stinks. We're entering the pain zone.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
All right. But you know what? This is a free man.
Come on, man. This is a free man talking.
I'm going to be a little Milton Friedman here. There is nothing more permanent than a temporary government program. Jeez, I can't believe I just said that. I can't believe I just said that. Things are getting weird, man.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder. And finally, it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
It is true. It's true, okay? And if the government finds a way to make more money and people are willing to pay it, they're not going to get rid of that tax source. Like, why would they do that? They never take away a tax, even if it's supposed to be temporary. Like toll roads in Florida, they were supposed to take those away like 10 years ago. But you think the government's going to get rid of it? Absolutely not. That's money, man. That's money. What are you fucking crazy? So this is a problem, okay? Because we're going to have to live with tariff retardation for the rest of our lives, for the rest of my life at least. And Gavin's giving it a nice spin. You know, it's better if you have that finesse to it. The reality is this is not going to be, it's not going to be nice, all right? And so this is President Trump yesterday. We didn't get to cover this. Who, you know, he had mellowed out, but what's he doing here? Gavin alluded to it. Let's check this out here.
So this is Lake Ontario in Canada and in the United States. But we're going to make a little change. We're going to call it something different than Lake Ontario. We're going to call it Lake America. And all it takes is a good pen and some intelligence. So Lake Ontario, that's gone. Lake America. So now we have a lake, and now we have a Gulf, because we have the Gulf of America, now we have Lake America, without the of. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy Lake America.
I hope that the pigs enjoyed this. I hope that all the little piggies that love their slop are enjoying this.
Some Gentiles are very stupid. They'll never think. They only want the beer and the alcohol and the sport and the football and the 4th of July barbecue and the beach and the tattoos and the clubs. That's all they have in mind.
All they have in mind, man. You know what's curious here too? Is that Trump, look at his handwriting here. I think Trump, what did Trump major in college? Let me check this out here real quick. I'm curious. Trump. Let me ask Gemini because I can't find it here. Let me just ask Gemini. What did Trump major in college? Let's check this out. Check this out. Economics and Pennsylvania. Why does he write in half capital and half lowercase? Normally, engineers write in all capital. Did he have an engineering course or something? I'm curious as to why. Never took engineering courses, but unique handwriting style and mixed capitalization habits come down to a blend of real estate. That's interesting. While Trump is an engineer, he spent decades in high-end real estate development, working alongside architects, blueprint draftsmen, and site engineers. They write in clean all caps or mixed blocks. Ah, interesting. Because that's no, this isn't relevant. If you notice here, because if you have an engineer in the family, you'll know that they write in all capitals. Here we have capital, 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 lowercase, capital, capital, lowercase, capital, lowercase, capital, capital. And I'm sure that some lib is going to be like, oh, you know, it's because he's losing his mind. No, because if you know an engineer, dude, it's just weird to see because it's half. Normally, if you do all capital, you do all capital. Any engineer writes in all capital for clarity. But maybe the E is because of like he used to calculate capexes by hand or something, and the I's. Interesting. And I know he had that engineering like uncle or something. Maybe he taught him there. Okay. And today we had this. They came out with the official one. Let's check this out here.
We're going to be changing the name of Lake Ontario, effective immediately, to Lake America. That's going to take place right now as I sign the order. We have a Gulf and we have a lake. Now all we need is an ocean.
Amazing. So now we have the Gulf of America and we have Lake America. I don't think I had the show yet when Gulf of America happened. Let me tell you what the Gulf of America thing is. Literally no one cares, except for Mexicans, maybe. Because Latinos have forever, they've always hated that Americans call themselves Americans. I personally don't care. But, like when a Latino asks me, where are you from? You know, I'm like, yo, dude, my parents are from here and here, but I was born in America. They go, I'm American too. You know, the whole continent is America. And I'm like, I know, dude. I don't believe there's 7 continents. I believe in 6 because I was raised French. Okay. So instead of America, North and South, we have les Amériques in French, you know, the Americas. It's only 6 continents in reality. I take it a little further, okay? In reality, I think there should only be 5 continents. I think it should be Oceania, the Americas, Eurasia, Africa, and Antarctica. So 5. I think there should only be 5 continents. I don't think it's 7. 6 is pushing it for me, but I'll take it. But I think it should be 5. Should be, again, the Americas, Eurasia, Oceania, which includes Australia, Antarctica, and Africa. Those should be the continents. I don't like the continents. I don't like 7 continents. I like 6 or 5 better. Emotion says, so the prior way to know the Great Lakes was Holmes. However, with a name, it's now going to be Shame. Really? I didn't know. What are the Great Lakes? Like Huron, Great Lakes. Let me look at the Great Lakes. What are the Great Lakes? I'm not from that region. I don't fucking know. You know where Lake Okeechobee is? I can find it on a map. Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. Lake Ontario is a pain in the ass. Have you ever driven to Toronto from Buffalo or something? Dude, you have to drive around the whole thing. I actually looked it up when I was up there. I was like, why don't they build a bridge? And they said it would be way too big. They tried, but it was too big. And a tunnel, impossible. Impossible. They'd rather make people drive. If Trump actually built a bridge across Lake Ontario against Canada's will, I would actually think that's pretty cool. Because that's going to take a lot of money. That would actually be really, really cool. J-Boss says, there's only 2 continents. Afro-Eurasia. I like that. 4. Everything else is an island or not popular and hence not containing people. I guess. That's a little pedantic, but let's just say geographically, like he's not considering people. It would be Antarctica, Afro-Eurasia, the Americas, and the Oceania. Come on. The island, Australia is pretty big, and you got to have all those other little islands there, right? I don't understand why Americans do North and South America. And that's what I was saying, is that Americans were like, we totally owned Mexico by calling it the Gulf of America. Literally every other country in this hemisphere except for Mexico is like, that's fine, dude. That's all of ours because we're all America. Why would I be mad about that? And they're like, we owned the Hispanics. We're not all Mexican, man. You know who was probably the happiest person that you took away the Gulf of Mexico? Is probably a guy from El Salvador or Guatemala. They're probably like, yes, fuck these Mexicans. Fuck them. You know, that's probably, they were probably really happy with it. So I don't really know. But anyway, it's Lake America now. You know, we're fixing it, you know? we're fixing the thing, you know, Lake America. You know, it's kind of like those t-shirts that say I survived Shikra and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. I was told we would conquer Canada and make it the 51st state, and all we got was this lousy renaming. Come on, man. J Boss says they don't even populate the center of Australia, a bunch of beach bums. When you told me that, dude, I looked it up, and you're right. The outback is like deserted. There's no one there. I read that you can't even stop in the outback because there's only like tribes of people that will rob you in the middle of the night. White and Aboriginal, both. Let's watch this here.
That has most of its volume in the United States. The deepest parts of the lake sit in the United States territory, so this will reflect the this is an American lake.
Thank you. Okay.
So this was the moment we conquered Canada. Canada is now America because Lake Ontario is called the Lake of America. Lake America, not Lake of America. Lake America.
Thank you very much.
Now, if you called it Lake USA, it would be like more of an affront, I think. But they called it Lake or Lake US, or I don't know. It's, all right. Anyway, we're going somewhere with this, okay?
Change it, and now it's very routinely the Gulf of America. So if you think about it, we have.
Yeah. Okay, let's watch this one here too.
As you know, we took something called the Gulf of Mexico. We changed it, and now it's very routinely the Gulf of America. So if you think about it, we have a Gulf and we have a lake. Now all we need is an ocean. So maybe we'll have to change the name of the Atlantic and or the Pacific. Maybe we'll change them both.
So now we want to change the Atlantic and this is real Caligula, like late stage shit. And I had to show you this page here, in case you're not aware, is Libs of TikTok. This is literally, if you go on the Libs of TikTok, it's really, it really is, where is it? It's the product of this.
You know how we say take a village to raise a child? But what if the village is retarded? What you think it's going to produce?
That's what it's like to go on the Libs of TikTok page. Libs of TikTok, they love themselves some slop. Where's our piggy? Where's the little piggy? Where's the piggy? Where's the piggy? Oh, here's the piggy. This is the Libs of TikTok. They love it. They love themselves some slop. All right. And they posted this. This must happen. Would be so freaking epic. Oh, okay. MAGA is Reddit now. The map never looked this good. And this is what Trump has proposed today. Let's look at this here. Lake America, Gulf of America, West American Ocean, and East American Ocean. The country is retarded now, right? Like America has become a country of mentally retarded people, right? If you are stupid. Aren't we all broke right now? And we're talking about this? This is what we're doing? Why don't we name the UN and all? Why don't we drop the lake, drop the Gulf, just call drop North. Let's call the whole thing America. The Italians are going to love it. Let's call, I just landed in America. I thought this was Italy. No, it's called America now. This is real Baudrillardian, dude. This is really the Borges story of the map so big that people forgot about the land. We are here like real Baudrillardian hours, man. Like it's over. It's over. J-Boss says American Ocean 1 and American Ocean 2. Right, and we should rename all of history. We should call World War I, America War I, World War II, America War II. The Vietnam War, we're not calling it that. We're calling it the America War in Vietnam. Robbie, how you doing, Robbie? Well played, President Trump. The libs aren't going to like this. Absolutely. The libs are going to hate this. Absolutely, Robbie. Have you seen Alex lately? Alex was pretty happy about this, too. He was very happy about it. How amazing. How amazing. And so this takes us to here because you might be watching this and thinking, you know, the Democrats, they have to be doing something. They have to be, making something. They must have learned by now.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't fucking know either. I guess we learned not to do it again.
Yes, sir.
I'm fucked if I know what we did.
But I want to show you something. This is J.B. Pritzker. We saw him yesterday, aura farming. Quote tweeting this. This is the governor of Illinois. He's quote tweeting this, and he writes here, effective immediately, Trump Tower is renamed to Natalie Tower. Natalie Tower. I don't know what the Natalie is referring to. This is the one on the Gold Coast in Illinois, right? This is J.B. Pritzker. We saw him. He's a retard. Like, look at what he posts here. Me checking to see if you're ready for the fight. Me checking to see if you... It's just pure slop. And I make fun of conservatives a lot on this channel. I really do. I maybe a little bit too much, but I just find them so detestable. But it's time for us... Natalie Harp. Who's Natalie? Yeah, Natalie Harp. That would make sense. The crazy lady. Natalie Harp. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's who it is. Yes, thank you, J-Boss. We talk about the conservative question, the CQ, but we have to talk about the libtard question now. Because when I see the Democrats in America, I was told for 12 years of my life at this point that President Trump was literally Hitler, that we were all going to die, that things were getting bad, and I understand that, there's something there. But now we need to talk about the LQ, the libtard question, because I understand now how Hitler got in power. Because if the opposition to Hitler was anything like the Democrats, no wonder he got into power. You are so retarded. This is how you fight fascism. I'm sure J.B. Pritzker has called Trump fascist at some point. This is how you do it. So let me get this straight. When Hitler was coming up and he was like, we're going to rebuild Berlin, it's going to be called Germania, were the libtards in Germany being like, checkmate, Hitler, we're going to rename Germania the land of Weimar, actually. Checkmate. That's right. And then he got into power and put you all in camps, actually, liberals. Then he sent you to the front lines with Russia. Because this is the opposition. The opposition, the libtard question, the LQ, these people are feckless, useless idiots that waste everyone's time. This is the opposition. The opposition is this. And let's look up the one from yesterday. Let me look it up for you, just so you're familiar again. Pritzker aura. Let's look this up again so we can see it. Let's see Pritzker. This is what the libtards are doing to fight Trump, the fascist. Right, so in Germany, all the Weimar people, what they were doing is they were going, let's drop aura farming edits next to Der Stürmer. We're going to put us aura farming there. We're going to put even the other Hitler factions like the Stasserists. We're like, we'll just aura farm and then we'll defeat him. We'll do that. We'll cross out the headlines on the public, Der Stürmer stuff, and we'll cross it out and we'll write, actually, Germany is liberal. Checkmate, fascists. You deserve worse. If we could get all the libtards, and they need to be re-educated by someone. I'm not saying it has to be Trump, but you don't deserve to have a voice. If you're going to drive the country insane, say President Trump is bad, tell me in particular, you tell me, hey man, your community is fucked up, bro. That's the libtard. No, I'm sorry. The libtard is this. Actually, your community is fucked up, man. Donald Trump is going to put you all in ICE detention centers. And I'm taking you seriously. I'm going, fuck, man, you're right. Alligator Alcatraz, is he going to denaturalize my parents? Is he going to take away my citizenship? And you go, don't worry, we're going to rename things here. We're going to Aura Farm. You deserve to be put in prison, actually. You deserve to be in prison. Because the libtard question has to be answered with prison. And I don't even believe in prison. You have to go to prison. Because you're not fighting anything here. You're being an idiot. This is the opposition in this country. It's idiots. It's idiots. And they're too stupid to be controlled opposition. This man is too stupid to be controlled opposition. You are too stupid. This is so earnest. This right here is so earnest that even Trump would be like, no, don't do that. That's too obvious that you're letting me win. It's too obvious. So Moses says, it's reference to Natalie Harper. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everyone changes his messes in his pants. These people, it's every day I look at what a liberal tweets, and it's just every day I log on to Twitter to see, hey, are the liberals fighting for it? Are they fighting back? Are they doing anything? Every day I log on, and all I say is,
I can't stand these fucking people, man. The joke is becoming a reality. Every day I hate one more person. They drive me crazy, man.
I'm a liberal. Dude, how do these people, how does Dean Withers wake up every morning and fight for these people? He's like, I'm a Democrat. How could you fight for these people? These people clearly don't care. They do not care. Oh, man. Jesse Lee Peterson re-education camps.
You are fighting against America and you hate white people.
That would be sensational.
Sensational.
Sensational. These liberals, they're going to be the end of me, man. Because that's the thing that bothers me about Americans. Samoja says, so Lake Ontario from another nation being renamed is different from someone making a joke? No, it is. It is. That's what I'm saying, Samojan. You're responding to an actual legal thing with a joke on Twitter. That's what I mean, Samojan. Their response to a legal change, to every legal change, is crying and Twitter posting and posting on Instagram. That's what they do. What they're not doing, they're not like injunction. No, you can't do this. All the governors of America that are Democrats are signing a letter that's going to be legally a problem. Nothing. They make a joke on Twitter. That's their response. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. And that goes to my American thing. My gripe with America is America's the only country, and maybe it's because it's been first world for way too long, where Donald Trump is Donald Trump. He's going to do what he does. Okay? If you own a little shop in Caracas, there are criminals that are going to try to break in. And that's their job, actually. Their job in the ecosystem is to break into your store and steal. So you, instead of going like what a liberal would do, be like, we need to reform and make sure that everyone has enough money so people aren't stealing. What you're supposed to do, in my opinion, is to say, this is the reality. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to try to secure my shop, make sure it's okay, because this is a problem that I have to deal with. I have to deal with this problem. But people don't want to do that. They rather just post online, because Trump is going to do what Trump is going to do. And you've known him for 6 years, actually more, 10 years now, 12 years now. And your reply are jokes? What happened?
What the fuck happened to you, man? Your ass used to be beautiful.
All right. So Moses says, so the party that has no power, doesn't control Congress or the Senate or the executive branch or even the Supreme Court, what would you have them do? What can they do? The thing is, Samoja, we can ask Gemini. Let's ask Gemini. But I want to make this clear. This is just my opinion. That's not our job. It's literally not our job to do that. Let's say they can't do anything. Then stop crying, because you're just going to stress everyone out. If we can't do anything, then just don't cry about it. Because if everything bad is going to happen, then why cry about it? It's still going to happen. You're just stressing people out. You're raising their cortisol. But I'm pretty sure there's something they could do, Simosian. And we don't get paid to say what it is. That's their job. Let's ask Gemini just for a laugh before we get out. A viewer is asking me, in the context of my criticism of Democrats for doing nothing to oppose Trump, this. I feel like there's still something they could do that they're not doing, even with said circumstances, besides cry on Twitter. Am I wrong? Let's ask. Let's do it. You are not wrong. The idea that minority party is completely helpless is a common defense. This is not an attack on you, Simosian. I'm just asking Gemini. But it relies on a passive view of political power. Being out of power severely limits the ability to pass legislation. But parliamentary systems and political optics give minority parties plenty of leverage to obstruct, slow down, or expose the majority. Procedural friction in the Senate. Force a 60-vote threshold, filibustering major non-budgetary legislation. This is what they could have done with the omnibus bill last year. Object to unanimous consent, leverage the 2-hour rule, hold nominees. They didn't do that. They didn't hold nominees. They approved them. They approved Marco, right? Tactics in the House, motions to recommit. Dude, we don't know what this is. We literally don't know what this is. I don't know. Maybe you do know, Simosian. I don't know what this is, but I'm sure this is real. Coordinated investigations and record requests, state-level resistance. I feel like they could do more. Simosian says, so control opposition is your point? Like, what are you honestly asking them to do? They make Twitter posts and cry. That's all they can do. And my point is, I think they could do more. I really think they could do more. And the thing is, it's too earnest to be controlled opposition. Simosian says, no, they can't. Research Center rules. Let's throw that at GPT. One sec. Let's see what it says. He is countering by saying this. Because you know who's doing stuff? Zoran's doing stuff. Is this true? Or does it invalidate what you said? Let's see. Your viewers are don't be mean to the viewer. When someone tells you Research Center rules, they usually expect you to drop the point. There are specific official standing rules that grant a minority power the power to obstruct. I'm not going after you, Simosian. It's just the way it's responding. Senate Rule 26. I know the Roman numbers. Paragraph 5A, the 2-hour rule. No Senate committee can meet longer than 2 hours after the full Senate convenes or past 2 p.m. without unanimous consent. A single minority member can object on the floor. This shuts down all committee hearings, bill markups, and nominee vetting schedules for that afternoon. Chuck Schumer used this in 2020 to halt Republican committee work. Interesting. Rule 22. Ending debate or standing legislation requires 60 votes cloture. Even the majority has 51 to 53 seats. They cannot pass standard bills without minority votes. Senate Rule 7 and mandatory roll calls. The Senate conducts almost all daily logistics, setting vote time skipping. Standing up and saying, I object, forces the Senate to follow formal procedure. The clerk must read full bills and aloud word for word. That's crazy. And every minor procedural step requires a quorum call. Senate Rule 22, post-cloture time sinks. If the minority refuses to yield back that debate time by unanimous consent, the majority can only clear a handful of nominees per week, creating a massive backlog in filing administration procedures. Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. But you see, this is the thing, is that we shouldn't have to research that. Like, we shouldn't know that. We elect them so we don't have to think about it. But all they do is cry and make me nervous. Dude, I see it around me. There's Hispanics that are nervous because of all their crying. And if what we're saying is they're going to get deported anyway, then who cares? Then just don't cry about it. Get the thong out, you bussy Playboy Democrats. You know what I mean? But I understand what you're saying, Samojan. I would just disagree there. We can talk about it tomorrow on the forum. CCTV says the left does one thing, the right does the other thing. And then the voters are in submission under their false paradigms, controlling their minds, willing or whatnot. I'm open to that. I'm open to that. I'm open to that. That it's a false opposition. The Republicans were supposed to be the false opposition in America. And now it's like the Dems. Simon says, it is like a small break in front of a flood. They can do minor setbacks now. But they could at least do them. I don't think they're doing them. That's just my opinion. I literally don't think they're doing them. That's my problem. I don't think they're doing them. I think they're too busy posting on Instagram. But that's just me. All right, guys, we really got to get out of here. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I appreciate the super chats once again. Super chats have been generous. Appreciate it. Let me do it now that everyone's here. I said I'd give a digital hug to everyone. The Democrats, the Republicans, the racists, the anti-racists, the groypers, the DSAers, everyone here. Digital hugs to you all. We welcome everyone here. And tomorrow's a Friday forum. Get your ass in here. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about this. We'll talk about everything. Send suggestions in the Discord, guys. I'll check it out. I'll play the ad one last time.
Hello, I like money.
Oh, give me the money.
Show me the money!
Give me the money, okay?
This country, you gotta make the money first.
Get the fucking
money!
Appreciate you tuning in. You're welcome. You're welcome. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Friday forum. Get ready. We're going to talk. See you guys then.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. 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 Change the world. My final message.